It's JT, and I cannot believe this, but we are streaming live on LinkedIn, Facebook, our Facebook private group, and YouTube. Can you believe that? We are streaming currently on 4 platforms. My mind is blown. Technology is amazing. Happy Friday to all of you. Today is Career Q&A, where I'm going to be answering your questions in real time. Nothing is off limits. I don't care how crazy the question is, as long as it's career related, because that's really the only advice I'm qualified to give. But we're here. We're going to answer your questions live in real time. Here's the deal, though. I'm only answering questions today if you post them on the LinkedIn live feed. So I want to make sure that I bring this up so everybody on the other platforms can see it. My team is posting the link. So if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook group, you're going to want to click on the link and go over to LinkedIn, and you're going to see a follow button. You must follow me. When you follow me, you then will be able to post comments in LinkedIn live, and my team will be able to pull those comments for you. So if you just want to watch, that's fine. But honestly, folks, if you want to get notifications and attend the live events and be able to ask questions in real time, you have to hit the follow button. So please make sure you go over to my LinkedIn profile, just click the link. You'll see the follow button in the upper right. My team created this graphic. Hit the follow button, and then you will be able to post comments in that feed, and we will be able to answer them, or I will be able to answer them for you in real time. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? So please go over to LinkedIn if you want to participate. Otherwise, if you just want to be a voyeur today and watch over the show, that's totally fine as well, right? Okay, coming back at you. Woo, this is so exciting. I can't believe that we are actually streaming on 4 platforms today. It's a dream come true for me. You know, folks, that at WorkItDaily here, we are all about helping people grow their careers. If your career isn't growing, it is dying. That is the truth. I don't care if you're 22 or 82. If you are trying to work today, you always have to be improving your skill sets, having a strategy for growth, knowing how you're going to pivot and stay relevant in the marketplace. And if you aren't working on a career plan, then you are putting yourself at risk for unexpected loss, setbacks, etc. That is why we really believe you have to have a career growth strategy at all times, and that you should be working with a career growth specialist, a mentor, career coach, whoever, who can help you stay on track, because it's very easy to get in your job, get in the weeds, do your work every day, and not think about working on the strategy for your career. So that's what we're here to do at WorkItDaily. My mission, my team and I, my partners here, we want to help 1 million people grow their careers in 2020, take total ownership of their careers, because you, my friends, are not an employee. You are not an employee. If you think you're an employee, then you are acting like a victim. People who think they're employees say, well, I'm at the mercy of my employer. You're essentially taking a bribe. I'm going to be honest. The money that you're getting is a bribe because you feel helpless and you're being paid to do a job, and it sort of feels against your will because you don't feel like you have freedom. Call it the golden handcuff effect. Millions of people out there acting like employees right now, and I don't want that anymore. I'm done with it. You are not an employee. You are a business of one, and your employer is your business partner. And when you take ownership of that and you realize you have more control than you ever realized, you have choices, you can build a strategy to get more satisfaction, more success, and more happiness in your career. And let me tell you why this is so important before I start answering all your questions today. Because some people are born to be entrepreneurs. Some people are born to own their own companies. There's this huge push in the last 20 years for everyone to own their own company. And, that really comes from, the Facebook era, the Mark Zuckerberg, this whole idea that entrepreneurship is cool. It's where it's at. And you're nothing if you're not an entrepreneur. That's the total vibe that's out there right now. That wasn't the case 20, 30 years ago. But today, that's the vibe. People feel like, gee, I'm nothing if I don't own my own business. That's just wrong. You are a business already. You are a business of one. Whether you choose to completely be independent and run, your own business that way, or you choose to have one exclusive customer that you devote your efforts to, aka an employer, it doesn't matter. You're still a business of one. And I'm so tired of the trend around everybody being an entrepreneur. And if you're not, then you're really not fulfilling your life dream and pursuing your passion. It's just not true. That's all a bunch of baloney. I'm almost 52 years old. I've had a lot of experience in this area. I've coached thousands of people. And I know that when you define what's important to you, when you build a career plan and you go after it, it doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or not. All that matters is you're building something that works for you. And I really want to this year get people off this feeling of guilt or feeling bad about themselves. Having a great job where you feel like a business partner with the employer, where you're getting your needs met, that's a win, my friends. That is a total win. And that should make the whole rest of your life feel better. And it's hard because we spend 1/3 of our lives in our jobs. So we have a lot of our self-identity, our self-worth wrapped up into the work that we do. And I work every day with people that are so dissatisfied. They come to WorkItDaily, they're depressed, they're dissatisfied, they just feel like they're failing in some way. And the first thing we talk about is this ridiculous notion that they're not realizing or fulfilling their huge potential of, running their own business or being their own boss. You are your own boss. You already are. So let's take ownership of your career. Let's make some plans. Let's make some great things happen in 2020, and let's get happier. That we can do together. Okay. All right. So again, so excited today to be streaming on all these platforms with all of you. I missed you all. I can't work with all of you at the same time, but now we can. One more reminder, only people that are following on the live stream can post questions and get them answered. So if you're not following me there, my team is posting the link. Go over there, hit the follow button on my profile, and then you will be able to get access and be able to post questions. All right. Okay. Let's get down to business. Let's change some lives. Let's answer some career questions. Let's get people happy, shall we? All right, so I'm going to start with DeBasis. DeBasis says, shout out to DeBasis, what's a strategy for keeping on track at work? Okay, I love this question. So folks, a lot of people get their time management skills tested when they get to work. And this is why I'm always tying this back to business of one concepts, why you are a business of one, why you're a service provider. So I want you to imagine that your boss and your coworkers are your clients. The first thing you have to do is go to your clients and say, how do you define success? How will you know when I am meeting your expectations? What are the metrics that we can use so that you will know I am hitting the mark? And most of you usually have those metrics. If you don't, if your boss hasn't given those to you, you need to set a meeting with your boss and get those metrics. And what you want to do, DeBasis and everyone else, is say, let's break that down, because, not just what you want to see me do in a year, but then what does that look like month to month? And what does that look like week to week? And maybe even what does that look like day to day? And if you can sit with your boss, your manager, your peers and say, hey, I'm mapping out a plan. I'm mapping out a success plan. I want metrics. And I want to be able to measure my success every day, every week, every month, up to the year. I'm going to take ownership. So when that time comes for me to do my review with my boss, I'm not waiting around for my boss to tell me whether or not I hit my numbers and I did a good job. I know I did a good job because I, from the get-go, build out a plan to measure myself. And I got the inputs of what that looks like from my boss. And I regularly checked in with my boss once a month and said, hey, this is what I got done week over week. Here's where I'm at. Are you happy with this? Should I make any adjustments to my plan? This is a partnership. This is how you get feedback. So often people say to me, I don't get enough feedback from my boss. Your boss is busy. Your boss has lots of people to manage. You want feedback? Set up a plan, measure it, ask to meet with your boss once a month and say, can I go over my numbers with you? Can I show you what I've done? What do you think? Your boss isn't going to have a problem with that. That's called managing up. That's called proactiveness. Now, once you have those numbers, build a plan to execute on them. If you know you have to get 10 tasks done a day, organize them in priority. What is the most important? And again, this is where you sit down with your boss, your peers, and you say, which one of these are mission critical? Meaning, if I even miss it for a day, I'm going to throw us off. I'm going to hurt everybody else on the team. I'm going to hurt the company. I'm not doing my job. What's the one that has to be done every day, non-negotiable? That goes to the top. Then there's the one that says, what's the one that could probably slide a day, but still needs to be done by the end of the week, or we're in trouble? And then what are the ones that, hey, they can slide a week or so, but they need to be done by the end of the month or we're going to fall behind? Very quickly, you're going to have your priority list. And then it's just a simple question of getting yourself to work and knocking out your punch list. Knocking it out. And in the beginning, this might seem like a lot of work, but eventually it becomes a habit. Habits take time. We have to do things repeatedly until our brain, our ancient brain, gets so used to it that we can go on autopilot. But we absolutely can. And once you've built this system and you've worked your plan and you've prioritized your tasks and you've done that for a couple of months, you're going to be blown away at how efficient you get. You'll be able to just go in and know what has to be done first, second, third, fourth, fifth, all the way through. And then you're going to have time left over. And that's a beautiful thing, because here at WorkItDaily, we teach something called the pyramid method. And it's 3 levels. There's core, which is your core work that you have to get to be able to do, that you can do in your sleep, that you can do and still have some time left over. When you get so good at your job, your core job, that about 20% of your time, maybe one day a week is left over that you could do other stuff. Now you start to do reach projects. So now you go to your boss and say, I've got bandwidth. I have some ideas of how I could add more value to the company. I have some projects I think I could do that could save us time or money. You start to find hacks to improve your core and be able to do more. This is where you start to prove you're worth more. And this is important because if any of you out there want more money, you've got to move from core to reach. And then once you start doing reach repeatedly and building that in and making yourself more efficient, eventually you hit the top of the pyramid, and that's passion. This is when you've essentially built up an expertise. And when you build up an expertise and you're a specialist at something, you're able to identify opportunities and do stuff that other people in the company can't. So when you get to passion level, boom, this is when your career really starts to take off, folks. So anybody out there that is looking to grow your career, you should be following the pyramid. You've got to get your core down pat. You've got to be able to start to reach. You got to take the reach experiences, turn them into saving the company money, making the company money. And then eventually you hit the passion part where you're a specialist and you stand out. And that's when it becomes epic. Okay. But that's the plan. There's no rocket science there. There's no brain surgery we're talking about here. Time management is simply, I'm a business. I need to know what metrics my employer is measuring me on. I need to break them down by year, by month, by week, by day. And then I need to organize them. And then I got to hold myself to them. That's it. That's all you got to do. And it's so funny because so many people come to me and say, JT, my company doesn't give me numbers. I don't know what to do. That's you acting like an employee. That's you acting like a victim. And if you're going to do that, you're not going to go anywhere in your career. Your career isn't growing. It's dying. And that's some really harsh words from me. But I have been at this for over 15 years. And I am telling you, the people that crush it in their careers don't see themselves as an employee. They see themselves as a business partner. And when you change that mindset and you take ownership, everything shifts. Okay. Awesome. All right. Great question. Thank you for asking it. Let's see. How to deal with rejection mails from employers. Does the gap in studies affect future employment and endeavors? Okay. So there's two questions there. So first of all, when you have gaps in your employment, yes, it does affect your ability to get recruited. A lot of times the ATS systems toss you right out and a human being never sees your application. So folks, anybody on here today, if you are applying strictly online and you're getting automated rejection letters, please understand that a human being has not ever seen your resume. Let me make that clear to you. Nobody has seen your resume. A machine has looked at your application, has been told to dismiss you if you have certain things on it, and that's why you're being dismissed. So you are not going to get hired if you keep doing that. If you want to get hired today, you have to learn to go around the ATS system, folks. And I know that's controversial because you're thinking, well, why do companies put ATS in place? They do it for that exact reason, to screen you out. I got to tell people this, and I'm going to harp on it until people get it. Right now, we have this booming market, at least here in the US. Everyone thinks it should be the easiest time ever to get a job because of a low unemployment rate. Harder than ever to get a job right now. Do you know why that is? Everyone in the chat, but why do you think it's so hard to get a job right now with such low unemployment? I'm interested to see if people know the answer. So while you're typing that in, I'm going to tell you that it has something to do with the amount of people looking for work. You see, right now, it's so good that everyone's looking around going, maybe the grass is greener someplace else. Maybe this great job I have right now isn't so great. I probably should look and see if there's something better out there. Maybe there's more money or a better opportunity. So the whole world starts looking for jobs. And because companies have made it so dang easy to apply with an applicant tracking system, everyone's gotten lazy. So all these people that aren't even really looking for a job, they just think maybe something's better. They just start applying to jobs randomly. So now companies are getting hundreds, sometimes thousands of applications for a single job, a large part of who aren't a fit. But more importantly, there are a bunch who are. And if they're currently working, they're considered more attractive. Or if they don't have gaps or they fit certain things, they get the calls. So folks, ATS, less than 3% of people that apply right now ever get a phone call. If you're only applying online, you are not job searching. And that's really hard to hear. And I'm sorry to say that, but I don't want you to waste another month or 2 or even 6. I mean, we have people come into WorkItDaily all the time and they tell our career coaches, yeah, I've been looking for 9 months. And we say, well, what have you been doing? So I've been applying online. And my poor career coaching team has to say to them, so essentially you haven't been looking for work. Let's show you how to do that. And then all of a sudden, within a month, they're getting calls from recruiters and they're going, oh my gosh, how did I not learn this? You didn't learn it because nobody taught you this. So I am here to teach you this. I am here to tell everyone out there right now, applying online does not work. You need a proactive strategy. You need a sales and marketing strategy for your business of one. Think about it. You ever see a business in your town open up shop? Like you just notice that they took some retail space, but you never hear anything about it. You don't see any marketing from them. You don't see anything special. You don't even know what they do. But again, nowhere have you come across any marketing or sales. You don't even hear anybody talking about them, word of mouth. And then all of a sudden, 3 or 4 months later, you drive by and you see they're out of business. Do you feel sorry for them? No, because the first thing that goes through your head is that, well, they didn't do any targeted marketing. They didn't find me, so I must not have been their customer. I must not have been somebody they were interested in. This is what you have to do. Employers are the customers. You've got to identify the right customers, the right employers. You've got to build a marketing strategy that would get their attention. And then you've got to connect with them in a way that a human being actually sees your resume and not an ATS system. That is the key. That is the secret sauce, my friends. And once you learn, you go, oh my gosh, how did I not know this? Why? This is so much easier to look for work. But you need the right tools. You need the right LinkedIn profile optimized. You need your resume in the latest format. You need a disruptive cover letter. That's your marketing materials. And then you need a way to get those in front of human beings. And once you learn how to do that, guess what? Now you have full control. You have complete control over your business of one and who it partners with. Every single day in WorkItDaily, people who use our system go, I just got an interview with a company on my bucket list. It's a dream job. And they're all excited, but we're not surprised. It's just simple, basic business marketing 101. They're just applying it to themselves. It's not rocket science. You just need to know how to do it too. But applying online, that's not marketing yourself. That's not getting you any traction. Okay. So those rejections that you're getting, the whole point of this rant was to tell you, why do you feel bad? A human being didn't reject you. A computer did. Don't feel bad. Don't even think twice. Just stop doing it. That's the best thing to do. Stop getting the rejection letters. Stop applying online. Start building a strategy where you talk to human beings. It's a lot harder for human beings to reject you. It's very easy for technology to reject you. Okay, so that's why you shouldn't care. You get an automated response right over your shoulder. It didn't even count. All right. Okay, good luck with that. Okay, David says, hey, David Nowry, what do you do when a recruiter calls you up and immediately wants to know the rate for a position in which they only give you the title and location of the position? Should I take them seriously? Yeah. So yes, in the sense that this recruiter has been given a very strict rate range and a very quick turnaround time. So when you get calls like that, folks, essentially think about the recruiter's job. Put yourself in the recruiter's position for a second. The way they get paid is on placements, especially if they're with a staffing company. They get bonused on placements, and it's usually time sensitive. So they're in hustle mode when they call you. They don't have time, David, to spend 20, 30 minutes of small talk with you only to find out you're not in their rate range. That's why you're getting that phone call like that. Okay. So if you want to oblige them and be in consideration, then what you need to do is give them a rate range. So don't give them an actual number, give them a range of numbers, and it should be your walkaway rate. What's the lowest you could accept? What's the lowest amount you could take without having to look for a new job to replace it? And your ideal. And that's going to be a pretty big swing. And you say that to them, hey, look, I'm okay for a job like that in that location. I'm looking between $40,000 and $80,000. What? Yeah, it's a big swing because I don't know enough about the position. I don't know what the benefits are. I don't know what the commute is. I don't know what the time is. I don't know what skills they're looking for. So it really depends. Can you give me more info? That's usually, if you're in their rate range, if their number's in there, then they're going to be able to talk to you. And usually at that point, they'll go, okay, so we're looking to pay 60. Great. Tell me more about the job. That's how you stop them. So offer the rate range. That way you're giving them an answer. They asked for a number. You're giving them a range. You're not pushing them off. And then say, well, tell me more about the job. What are the requirements? What are you looking to pay? And that's it. And don't get hung up on it, folks. It is what it is. They're playing a numbers game. But the one thing I will tell you is don't try to dance around recruiters. There are some coaches out there that say, oh, tell them I'll give you my rate once I know more about the position. Recruiter's going to get off the phone with you. They're the customer, not you. Not in this situation. You want to be a business partner, right? But you want the job. They can go out and find lots of potential business partners. You have to find very specific customers. So in the beginning of this dance, this relationship, they're in the driver's seat. Your job is to listen to them carefully, answer their questions, build their trust, earn their respect. And then when you finally are the candidate they want, now the driver's seat is shifted. You sit in the driver's seat. And that's when you start figuring out the negotiation process. Okay. All right. Hopefully that helped. Eduardo says, what do you do when you're close to getting multiple offers? Well, first of all, heck yeah, Eduardo. It's a problem we all want to have, right? And multiple offers. It's actually pretty common. We see it a lot inside Work It Daily because when we teach people to work a business process, a marketing process, it's like a funnel. So for those of you in sales and marketing, you know there's something called the sales funnel where you start with a lot of opportunities, you nurture them, some fall out of the funnel, but you nurture. So what Eduardo has going on here is he's in the late stage with a couple of companies. And he's like, what do I do? Because eventually one's going to offer a job first and the other one is still not going to have decided. And Eduardo's worried and should be because he's thinking, I want to see what both offers are. I'm not sure which one I want to pick. However, you have to be really careful in this situation. And I've seen people screw this up so many times. What you cannot do, Eduardo, is when you finally get the offer from the one, you can't say, well, I'm waiting from another offer. And then once I know which one's better, I'm going to take it. The company will rescind immediately. And that's because they want to be your first pick. They want you to be in love with them as much as they're in love with you. This is a relationship. So when you tell them that they may come in second, they don't want someone who feels that way. And for good reason. We want you all in when you take the job. So the right thing to do in that scenario is when somebody makes an offer is to say, thank you so much. I am really excited about this offer. My gut instinct is to accept it on the spot, but the right thing to do is to take a day to really look it over, make sure that I don't have any questions regarding the offer. Will that be okay? And of course, take a day, no problem. You then immediately go to the other employer and you call them. You don't email them, you call them and say, hoping to connect with you. I've just been given an offer by another company, but I'm really interested in your company. I know you haven't completed the hiring process yet. Could you give me an idea of how long it's going to be before you make a decision or whether or not you think I'm in the running to move forward? So I can decide whether or not I should take this other offer because I'm really interested in you. So what you're doing there is telling them your situation. You're not telling them, hey, you have to make a decision on me. You're saying, where am I in the process? Because I really like you guys. Basically, you're my first pick. Can you tell me where I'm at? That way, you're either going to get an honest answer, hey, you're probably not moving forward, in which case, great, you can take the other offer. Or, oh my gosh, it's another day or so. We'll know in a week, whatever. You'll get a time frame on when you're going to know. Now, based on that, you can go back to the other employer. If there's any negotiating that needs to be done, you've reviewed the offer, you get that done, and you can go ahead and accept that offer. And you're going, wait a minute, JT, but the other company said, yeah, I know that, but I've seen companies fall through, drag their feet, and I don't want you missing out on an opportunity. If in that time, because it'll probably be a week or so before you start, the other company comes through and their offer is actually better and you want it, then you'll take it. And yes, I know that backing out of the other job will be a bummer, but that's life. That's how it works. The truth is, most of the times, it's the company that comes to you with the offer first that is actually the better offer anyways. So about 25% of the time have I seen people have to go back and say, I'm sorry, I'm backing out of this offer and going with another one. And you don't want to risk it. You have got to keep the cards close to the vest. You've got to make each opportunity feel like they're very special. And here's where people get upset. And they go, oh my gosh, JT, I don't like to do that. It makes me feel like a liar. It makes me feel inauthentic. I like to be transparent. I get it until the first time you're honest and both companies back out and now you have no job offer. And I have seen that. Literally. I saw an executive, 6-figure salary. He was like, you know what, JT, this is my brand. I'm an executive. I'm just going to go tell them the truth that I need to hear on another offer. He told them, they said, absolutely take all the time you need. And then at 6 a.m. the next morning, an email in his inbox rescinding the offer. You have to trust me on this, right? Businesses want to be your first pick and you don't, until you have all the cards and you know where you stand with every offer, you got to go with the offer that you have. It's just how it works, all right? All right, Eduardo, good luck with that. Great question. Vic says, how do you get around the 80% rejection when you apply for a job online? So Vic, the reality is 80% of jobs today are gotten via referral. And by that, I mean somebody who knows somebody who can make an introduction at the company. LinkedIn has done studies on this. Your weak ties, meaning you know somebody and they know somebody at the company you want to work at. So you have to identify the companies you want to work for. So let's say there's a company that's got a job posted and you think you are 100% fit for this job. And let me be clear, folks, because this is another topic. You cannot be a 70% fit. You cannot be an 80% fit. You need to be a 90 to 100% fit. You cannot be 110% fit. You cannot be 150% fit. You need to be a 90 to 100% fit. If you are too underqualified or too overqualified, the ATS is going to toss you. Okay. So that's why you need to find somebody who works at the company and see if you can get an introduction and see if you can get your disruptive cover letter and your resume in their hands so that they can see, wow, this person's got a great story. They really feel connected to us. And therefore, when they look at your resume, they're going to want to screen you in instead of screen you out. This is the secret sauce. I'm revealing it to you right now. This is how we at WorkItDaily get people jobs faster. And my WorkItDaily people will back me up on this. And people come in so skeptical and they don't believe it. It is all about the branding. It is all about the storytelling. And when you learn how to tell a great story in your cover letter and brand your LinkedIn profile and your resume correctly, and then get that story and those materials in the right hands, game changer. Total game changer. And again, this is no secret sauce that I invented. This is basic understanding. We live in a storytelling world now. We live in a social media world. I just listened to an article last night where they talked about how important storytelling is. Literally, we're more attracted to people who can tell great stories. And so we know that storytelling is an attraction tool. If you want to stand out in a sea of candidates, it's not you talking about how awesome you are. Those are probably the most annoying cover letters and resumes of all time. These subjective, over-the-top, wordy explanations that start with, I'm a proven self-starter. I'm a dynamic professional. Awful. That's like the worst thing to do. You need to be able to tell stories that let the person know you get them. You understand them. You feel connected to them. That is the future of marketing yourself and building your career right now, folks. Good storytelling. You don't need to be an extrovert. I'm not saying you need to be able to get up on a stage and tell your story. This is actually brilliant for introverts. Because a lot of times introverts are amazing storytellers and can write a great story in their cover letter and share that electronically, right? Get that in the right hands of somebody. So it is all about storytelling these days. You want a killer job, you want to work for your dream company, tell them a story that makes them understand why you should be there. Don't tell them how great you are. And there's a great test for this. This is what I tell people all the time. Imagine the hiring manager for your dream job at your dream company is at a party and you've got a shot to walk up to them. Here's the catch though. The only thing you can do is read to them your cover letter and your resume. That's it. You can't say hi. You can't introduce yourself, nothing. You get to walk up to them, read your cover letter, read your resume to them. Okay, so now imagine that. Now let me tell you the resumes and cover letters they usually get. Imagine walking up and going, hi, so-and-so, it's with great pleasure that I am applying to your XYZ position. I possess 15 years of extensive experience where I've proven myself to be a thought leader in our industry. Let me tell you about the time I did this. How silly would you feel in that moment? You would feel ridiculous. I would feel ridiculous. I would be uncomfortable for you. That's what you're doing with cover letters and resumes today, folks, and that's why they're bombing. If you really want to get a job, you tell a story. You go, I want to tell you about the time that I first used your product and it saved my sister's life. Or I want to tell you about the first time that I understood that your product was the yummiest one on the market. Whatever it is, I don't care. If you're attracted to an employer, it's because you've had some sort of life experience that has taught you to feel that way. Folks, we don't get feelings randomly. Feelings come from experiences that we've had that we've processed in our brain so that we know whether to like something or not like something. Okay, we know whether to respect something or not trust something based on our experiences. So if you're having a reaction, if you feel connected to an employer, there's something there. And it's on you to peel back the layers and think for a while and go, why am I feeling this way? Why do I love that brand? That's the story you need to tell, and that needs to connect with somebody. And you can do that these days. We have LinkedIn. We have social media. LinkedIn is one of the most underutilized tools for this. It blows my mind. You can literally send a 300 customized connection to anybody in any company and say, dear so-and-so, we haven't met. But I would love to tell you the story why I am so connected to your company's mission. I'm so in love with your company's brand. Why I have huge respect for the company you work for. You know what? I'm going to hit yes on that. And then they're going to send me the cover letter that tells me the story. And I'm going to go, this is a pretty cool person. And then they're going to ask me, hey, what's the best way to get this story in the hands of a hiring manager? And once I've read the story and go, wow, they really get it. I go, all right, well, his name's Bill Jones. You should connect with him. That's it, folks. We are sitting on a gold mine on LinkedIn, and everyone's gotten LinkedIn lazy. Drives me nuts. This thing is unbelievable, and it's free. And nobody's using it correctly. All they're doing is amassing connections and not talking to one another. It's ridiculous. This is a job seeker's heaven, but you got to put the effort in. You got to write the story. I'm sorry, you can't be lazy and just say, will you look at my resume? You can't write a generic cover letter that talks all about you. If you want the dream job, put some skin in the game. Tell the story, explain the connection. Okay? Whew, gosh, you guys have me all fired up. I think it's because I'm so excited to be with all of you today. All right. Let's talk to Danielle. Hey, Danielle. Trying to make a career change. I'm working on a lean certification. Good for you, girl. But most of the entry-level jobs, just to get my foot in the door, are 1 to 3 years experience. How do you navigate a career change in this environment? Okay, Danielle, you are all about the informational interview, girl. That is your secret sauce, and that is what you need to be doing. Anyone here looking to make a career change, especially if you are technically overqualified for what you're going into, has to play something called informational interview bingo. Informational interview bingo. Okay, what does that mean? So you are going to create a bingo card, and I want you to pick the 5 companies that you think are doing the most amazing stuff with lean certifications. So there are 5 companies out there that are hiring for lean certification, and they're applying them well, and they're in your commutable area, right? There are places you would love to work that are doing great things. Okay, so they go across the top. Then down the side, I want you to put another 5, and your job is to try to set up informational interviews with 5 people at each of those companies. An informational interview is not a job interview. This is you asking them to connect on LinkedIn and saying, I see that you are lean certified. I'm in the process of getting my lean certification. Your company is on my top 5 bucket list. I think they're one of the 5 companies in the area that are doing the most exciting things with lean. I love how you're using it. I love that you're having it. Could we meet? I would love to hear from you, how you're using it at the company. I would love to get your advice on what it takes to get into a company like that. I would just love to hear what you're working on, one professional to another. And in return, if there's anybody in my network that I could introduce you to, I would do the same. But again, I want to hear your story. I want to hear how you're leveraging lean, why you chose to get the certification, how you're using it in your job. People love to do that. You're essentially serving up a networking opportunity where they get to talk about themselves and make a new friend, right? You're just the one extending the olive branch first. Now, not everyone is going to agree to meet with you. So to get 5 people on your bingo card for that company, you're probably going to have to reach out to maybe 10 or 20 people at the company, but you just do it. And don't get your feelings hurt if not everybody says yes. Eventually, one person at the company is going to say yes. And all it takes is one to fill your bingo card. Let me explain why. Once you get one person to agree to meet with you and you go and you info interview them, and you ask them questions all about themselves and you learn about it and you have this really fun, nerdy conversation where the two of you nerd out on lean. Then at the end, you can say, this has been so amazing. Can I ask a favor? Could you name one person in the company that you think I could have a similar conversation with to get to continue to learn more? Is there one person in the company that you admire that's doing lean that you might be willing to introduce me to so I could buy them a cup of coffee and really, get their perspective or grab a phone call with them? Do you think that would be possible? So all you're asking is for them to give you one name. If the conversation went well, they're usually like, yeah, you should talk to Mary Smith. I'll hook you up. I'll introduce you to Mary. Well, now Mary's being told by a colleague that you're somebody worth chatting with. So Mary's chances of saying yes are going to go way up. And then you meet with Mary and you do the same thing. And Mary says you should talk to Larry. And you meet with Larry and Larry says you should talk to Anna. And all of a sudden you've met 5 people in the organization and very respectfully interviewed them and learned more about them. Now, one day a job comes available at the company and it requires lean certification. You know what you're going to do? Reach out to all 5 of them and say, thank you again for the time you took to meet with me. I am so excited. Your company just posted a job that I think I might be a fit for, but given that you've met with me, I would love to see what you think. I've also written this disruptive cover letter where I tell the story about why I'm so passionate about your company and all the things that I've learned by meeting with all of you. Would you be willing to take a look at it and tell me what you think before I send it in? What this does is give these people the chance to walk down the hallway and tell the manager they should talk to you. And this really works. Really, really works. And the first blowback I'm going to get about this right now is people are going to say, JT, that takes too much time. No, it doesn't. It's just work. It's work to craft a connection request and ask someone to work with you and meet with you and schedule it. But you can make this happen pretty darn quick. Danielle, you can get this in gear today. You can start this process. And I got to ask you, how important is it switching careers? How much do you want to do this? How much skin do you want to put in the game? Because the other upside to this informational interview bingo, folks, that all of you should be playing is that your network is your net worth. And while meeting these people might not give you an immediate return today, it will down the line. Having a network is so important because every job is temporary these days. And you don't know if those people will go to another company where you might want to work someday, or maybe you'll work someplace and you'll want to reach out to them and say, hey, you should come over to this company. Networking is everything these days. And it starts with informational interview. It starts with taking meetings. This is what executives do. This is what the people that you look at and they go, how do they always land the great jobs? They're powerful networkers. They have conversations with people. They remember those conversations. They put people together. They introduce people. That's what it's about. This isn't gaming the system. This isn't being insincere. This is basic business. This is basic sales and marketing for your business of one. And so right now, Danielle, you're in the stage of building awareness around your brand. And to build awareness, you need to have these one-on-one meetings with people at those companies that are doing amazing things. Okay. Again, we're sitting on one of the most amazing platforms in the world called LinkedIn that lets us do this. I mean, a little over 10 years ago, you had to manually figure this out. Now I can jump on any day, find the names of the majority of people that work at a company, reach out, customize a connection request. And if I do it enough, get someone to talk to me. That's insane. So put aside your fear of rejection, folks. Get over yourselves. Get in the game. Push it out. Get the work done. And then when you're sitting with an amazing new job and on a complete high, you're going to know that you did this, that you now understand how to make it happen and that it's possible. The only thing holding everybody back here today is fear of looking foolish. That is so sad. That is so sad to me that people are not going to do this today because they're afraid of looking foolish. They are missing out on their dreams. They are wasting time when they're sitting here with a gold mine of a product in front of them they can use for free. So Danielle, go get them. You can do this, Danielle. You got it. And congrats again on the lean cert. Whew, okay. What else do we have here? Jennifer, is there such a thing as being too polished for an interview? Heck yeah, Jennifer. Great question. There most definitely is. We were just talking about this the other day. Yesterday, I did a live stream on LinkedIn called The 10 Things Recruiters Won't Tell You, But I Will. So if you did not see that live stream, again, you got to hit the follow button in order to get my feeds, folks. But one of these that I talk about is that your attire and your approach and your demeanor is off for the job. You need to read the room. You need to do your homework in advance. If a company is super cash, you do not go in overselling it. So there's always a rule of thumb in recruiting that you should dress one level higher than the way they dress at the company. So if the company is really casual, flip-flops, shorts, jeans, you're going to go in khakis and a golf shirt, or, a nice shirt and khakis for ladies. You're not going to overdo it. If they're like cash, not super cash, but cash, meaning khakis, and then you go one level up, dress pants and an open collared shirt. Again, not overdone. If they're like business professional, then you're going more professional. So then you're probably going to hit the suit level, right? So that's always been a sign of respect to an employer. But if you go in dress 2 levels higher, it's just awkward. So if you're in a full-on suit and everybody's sitting around in flip-flops, it's just weird. Because in their mind, you like to overdress. So you've got to do your homework online. You can ask recruiters in advance, hey, what's the dress code? What's appropriate? What would I feel most comfortable in that day? Totally within your rights to ask that if you're going to an in-person interview. But do your homework online too. Research the heck out of them on Indeed, on Glassdoor. Look at all their pictures on social media. You'll get a sense of how you should dress and how you should act. And the other thing, folks, is you really got to work on your brand from head to toe. And people get so upset when I say this. but people hear what they see. This is a true statement. Doris Day, the famous actress, said this. People hear what they see. First impressions matter. So how you look, from hair and makeup and jewelry and cologne and perfume that you wear and the outfit that you wear, all the way through to facial expressions, body language, hand gestures, all that stuff factors in together and creates a brand, creates a look. And we're taught that whatever we see in the interview, multiply it by 10, and that's what we're going to get for a person on the job in 90 days. So we know everyone's kind of reining it in. So if we see anything out of whack in the interview process, that's a red flag, because we know that's going to get magnified once you get the job. So there's a lot more that goes into interview prep than people realize. And if you didn't see the video yesterday, go over and check it out, because you absolutely can be overdone and it will cost you the job, right? They're looking for you to be a cultural fit. They're looking for you to be able to blend, make others in the tribe feel comfortable. And anytime you try to stand out too much, that comes across that you might be a lone wolf, you might be elitist, you might be difficult to play nice in the sandbox. So you got to be really careful there. But yeah, awesome. You guys are asking great questions today, by the way. Let's see. Oh, Christopher is asking, where do you go to explore the best job opportunities? So Christopher, there's no place that you go to explore. You have to be able to apply a filter. So you can go to a site like Indeed or Glassdoor or LinkedIn and look at job postings after you have created a filter for your business of one. So one thing we learned in sales, and my salespeople, give me a shout out and back me up here. The worst worst one in the world to use is something called spray and pray. Spray and pray is when you just think you can sell to anything and anyone and hope something sticks, right? You're just kind of like throwing it out there and hoping something grabs on. Spray and pray. That's why it's called that. So you can't do that in job search. It doesn't work. You need to target. So really good salespeople, that's why they create sales territories. And that's why they create bullseye lists or target lists of employers. And they focus on customers. And they focus on that. You need to do the same thing with employers. You need to put on a filter and know what kinds of companies you're looking for. And so you have to do some soul searching into what is going to be a great experience for you. Now, this is where it gets hard, especially for recent grads. They have no idea. You've never worked. You don't know if you want to work at a small company or a big company or a mid-sized company. You don't know if you want to work for a startup or a traditional company. You don't know if you want to work for a company with a product or a service. You don't know what industry you want to work in. You don't necessarily know what skills you want to leverage. So creating the filter in the beginning is really, 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 really hard. On the flip side, as we work and we get older and wiser in terms of it, the problem that happens is we learn what we don't want. So on the other extreme, all my folks out there right now that are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s saying, oh, JT, I've had a string of bad luck. I work at these companies. I like them for a while. I don't like them anymore. Now I know exactly what I don't want in a company, but I still don't know what I do want, right? They've this sense of failing, which wasn't failing at all. It's just that through their experiences, they started to realize they wanted something different, but people take it personally and assume they did something wrong. They now think, I don't know how to look for a good employer. So either way, you feel really stuck because you don't know how to build your filters. In that case, you have to go back to basics for both extremes. And the answer is to create, again, an interview bucket list. And in the beginning, it may not be a list of employers that could ever even hire you. So it might just be, if there were 10 companies I could work for and it didn't matter where they were located or what skill sets they were hiring for, if there were 10 brands that I would love to work for, who are they and why? And you just want to do this exercise. In fact, all of you out there, if you've never done this, I don't even care if you have a job that you love right now. If you have never done this exercise, you need to do it. We do it all the time inside WorkItDaily. And you need to come up with 10 companies that really light your fire. You think about the brand and you get giddy. In fact, let's do a little quick test right now. Everybody in the chat, think of a brand. When I said a brand you love, immediately, what came to mind? Pop it in there. Everybody do that right now. We're going to do a mini exercise to show you all capable of doing this. You're all capable of creating your filter. You didn't know you could, but you can. So you take that company that immediately came to mind and you say, what taught me to feel that way? What taught me to love that brand? What is it about them that is so fabulous? What is it about their product or their service that is better, faster, cheaper, higher quality, serves a certain group of people, values a certain thing. What is it that made me say that company's awesome and I love their brand? Then ask yourself, okay, that's the first step. Second step, where did I learn that? What happened in my life that taught me that what they do is better, faster, cheaper? Because not everybody feels that way. Not everybody's picking the same brand. Look at the feed right now. Did everybody pick the same brand? You all have different brands that you love. And it's all because you're different people. You've all had different life experiences. You all have different values and beliefs. And that creates a very unique interview bucket list, which is so awesome because no two people here will have the same list. Now, once you do this 10 times, 20 times would be even better. You can get all the way up to 20 companies. You step back, maybe sleep on it for a day, and you go say, what do all these companies have in common? And we do this a lot with people too. They give us their bucket list and we look at it and we help them figure it out. And they say, wow, I didn't realize this, but everyone on this list is like environmentally friendly. Everybody on this list is a luxury brand. Everybody on this list serves a certain type of customer. I have some themes here. There are some patterns to what I'm attracted to. Now you're starting to identify areas of interest, industries of interest. And now you can take that and say, all right, now that I know these patterns, these things that I'm attracted to, let's go look for companies in my own backyard that are in these industries, that have these qualities. And that's when you can start to identify employers that would give you intrinsic motivation. And so I'm going to explain that. Intrinsic motivation, internal motivation, is a desire to do the work because you feel connected to it. It's something in here, intrinsic, internal, that's telling you this motivates me. I support it. I believe it. I'm aligned with it. And having intrinsic motivation for work is hugely important because on those days where the job isn't your favorite or it's a little hard, we're able to go back and feel gratitude and excitement for the fact that even though it's a hard day, we believe in the mission, we're aligned, we feel connected. Remember, in the very beginning of this session, if you're just tuning in, I got on a big rant. You do not need to own your own business. You do not need to be an entrepreneur. You already are one. You're a business of one. If your business of one can spend its career identifying companies that it respects and admires and wants to partner with, that's a beautiful thing. That's no different than truly owning your own company, right? It's just doing it with one particular customer. That is a beautiful thing. And that's how people have long and satisfying careers because they constantly gut check and say, am I in alignment with this company? Am I doing work? Do I align? Do I believe? This is why people talk about it. Stop thinking that you need to go follow your passion. I love underwater basket weaving, so that's what I should do. No, go find a company that's solving a problem or doing something you believe in, and then figure out how you're going to take your skills to support their mission. That is beautiful, meaningful, satisfying work that creates a great life. And we were not taught to do that. But now you are. Now we're teaching you how. And it all starts with putting a filter on folks and creating your personal filter. Your personal filter is your bucket list. Understanding what you're attracted to, why you're attracted to it, and where you learn that. So that now, by the way, when you go to meet someone at that company, which we taught you here today, and you reach out to them, you have a story to tell. Remember the storytelling thing? You can say to them, you know why I love your company? Because when I was 5, this happened. And that's when I learned how important this is. And what you do is important. And I know that personally. Employers love that. They love it because they know you get them. That is so attractive. That's what gets hired these days. Does that make sense to everyone? Yes? Wow. Very, very good. Great stuff. Let's see. Let's keep going. So many questions today. I love it. Let's say Polly says, I left my jobs 2 months ago as it wasn't the role I took 3 months earlier. I've been proactive, but getting frustrated. The gap in employment is getting longer. Recruiters are ghosting lots. How can I get over not being in work at the moment? Yeah, that's a tough one, Polly. So I understand. And I think, Polly, you've learned a really valuable lesson here. Folks, at all costs, keep a job until you get a new job. I know it's hard. I know when we are in pain and we hate the job and it's not a fit for us, we feel like we can't get out of bed in the morning. I get it. But unfortunately, I end up working with a lot of people who do quit the job and can't get a new one. And that's because hiring is discrimination, and it is a proven fact that recruiters discriminate against the unemployed. It is sad and it is awful, and it is why you can't apply online, right? You've got to be able to go around the system. So when we make a decision like Polly did, when we have a situation like this, the first thing that you have to do is take accountability and ownership for it. You're a business of one. Your business made a business decision at the time, right, that you thought was right, but now there are some residual effects to that business decision that you're not happy with, right? Let's just be objective. That's what's happened here. So Polly, you need to own that, and you need to craft a story around that transparency. So if you see a job that you're a fit for and you love the company, first of all, you've got to write a killer disruptive cover letter. You got to get them at hello, as we say inside the WorkItDaily platform. I love reading cover letters, by the way. Sidebar, when our members send them in, our coaches review them for them. And they're just so fun because, I love hearing people's stories, right? Who doesn't love a good story? But Polly, you got to tell a great one, because that recruiter is going to go, this is an amazing story. They're going to look at your resume and go, ooh, what's going on with the gap? Like, why isn't she working? Why was she only at that company 2 months? Right? So you've got to be so compelling that they go, ooh, even though there's something on the resume I don't like, her story was so killer, I got to at least pick up the phone and find out what's going on, because she gets us. So they're giving you the chance to sell yourself. So when they get you on the phone, and this is where you have to learn to really have a great answer. And we teach something in WorkItDaily called the Experience, Learn, and Grow model. And this is a model for answering all behavioral questions. A question like, why did you leave your last job, or what happened, is a behavioral question. They want to hear more than a one-word answer. And you have got to follow a process. Otherwise, you sound discombobulated. A lot of times, if you haven't prepped, I'll hear a lot of ums and ahs, and you sound unprepared. So you've got to rehearse for this, Polly. You've got to be ready. And the answer is, that's a great question. So when they ask you what happened to your last job, you can say, that's a great question. Because the first thing they're going to think is you're going to go into defensive mode. So you've got to put that to rest right now. You've got to say, that's a great question, which is Q4. I really want to answer this for you. And then you need to tell the story as objectively as possible. I took the job 3 months ago. It was explained one way. I got in there and very quickly within 2 months learned it wasn't that at all. And I just knew that I wasn't going to be able to stay there long term. I knew that's not where I wanted to take my career. It's not what I wanted to build my skill set in. I knew that it didn't make sense to have them continue to train me and invest in me when I knew I couldn't stay there. And so I made the decision to leave. Looking back, I realize now I probably should have kept the job, because it wasn't income and I could have actively looked for work, but I didn't. I left, and I can't change that now. And I know that to you as a recruiter, that probably looks bad. But what I will tell you is that I'm really focused, and I understand now what to look for in a company. And that's why I'm so excited and attracted to your opportunity. And I really want to get back to work. I hate not working. The sooner I can get back, the better. Whoever hires me is going to have the most inspired worker, because this has been a really powerful learning experience. It's been a hard one. But I've learned a lot about the process, about what to look for, what questions to ask, make sure I'm a right fit, because I don't want this to happen again. I don't want to get into another employer and it not be a fit. I want to stay put. So wherever I go, I'm staying put this next time. Those are all the concerns that they have. Are you a job jumper? Do you quit when times get tough? Was there something else going on? So you need to be able to address that in a very positive way by saying, hey, it wasn't a bad experience. It was a powerful one. And here's what I learned. And here's what I own. Here are the mistakes I made. Because if you don't take any accountability, and you just sit and blame the employer, you're not going to get hired. I don't trust it. No recruiter will. There are 2 sides to every story, or 3 sides really, yours, theirs, and the truth, right? Everything's subjective. So when I hear you tell a nice balanced story and you take some ownership for what happened, I know you're capable of learning and growing. I know you're capable of recognizing when you make mistakes and how to learn from them. That's an attractive employee to me, right? So no excuses, folks. If you're like Polly and something's happened and you've been making excuses, that's why recruiters are ghosting you. You absolutely have to tell an amazing story to get their attention. And when you do get their attention, have a very clear, objective answer where you take accountability for what happened. Okay? Awesome. So amazing. All right. So I'm just going to stop there for a second and say, wow, where does an hour go? This is awesome. Listen, if you didn't already, we love to know where you're dialing in from. So can you please in the comments tell us what part of the world you're coming in from? That would be amazing. Also, I love to hear what was the most helpful tip of the day. Hopefully somewhere in this last hour, there was something helpful. It means a lot to us. It helps our team figure out what live streams we're going to do in the future, what topics you want to hear and cover. So tell me more. Tell me what was really helpful for you today. Did you have an aha moment? I want to hear about it. for sure. Again, the only way to participate in the live streams and the comments is to follow me on LinkedIn. So you got to go to my profile, you got to hit the follow button. But the cool thing is it sends you instant notifications when we go live, and it gives you that ability to ask questions and get them posted. So I hope you decide to do that as well. One other crazy thing that I want to put up here before I take a final question, just so you know, and this is pretty awesome. We are trying to blow it up hard on TikTok and Instagram. Yeah. So if you have a TikTok account or an Instagram account, doing a lot of amazing videos and tutorials and information there. So TikTok, quick sound bites, quick tips that'll motivate you for the day. Instagram, we've got killer IGTV tutorials, lots of stuff in depth on resume, cover letter, LinkedIn, career change, all that kind of stuff is in there. So I'd be grateful if you go over there and follow TikTok and Instagram, because that way we can work with you more there as well. And we'll be posting on those platforms. We'll be trying to post pretty regularly, but that's that. So let's take one more question for the day. Let's see. Oh my gosh, here's Susan. Susan, you go girl. 10 years stay-at-home mom, trying to get back into the workforce. Last employment on resume, 10 years. How to spice it up. Okay, I love Susan. Susan, spice it up. This is awesome. First of all, you had a tough job. I have an 18 and 16-year-old. I get it. And 10 years, I know it's in a blink of an eye, and now they're out and you're ready to go back. Fantastic. Fantastic. Here's the reality check. So I'm going to give you the bad news first, then we're going to talk about the good news. Okay, Susan, and everyone else out there that's got any kind of gap. If you took time off to care for sick parents, for kids, whatever, went on sabbatical, let's talk reality. Every year you're out of the workforce, you lose 10% of your value. Every year you're out of the workforce, whatever you were doing previously for a job, you're 10% less effective. So we see this all the time. Moms or dads, somebody stays home for 6 years, whatever, till the kids are out of school, into school, and they go back and they realize they can't get anything but entry level because you've essentially had to start over. And I know that stinks because we go, are you kidding me? Look at all that I learned as a parent, right? The transferable skills, the multitasking, the patience, right? The negotiating. There's so much we learn. But the reality is we're starting over. So first thing I'm going to tell you is you are not a candidate for applying online. Do not apply online. The ATS is going to toss you. This is how it goes. All right. What I will tell you is that you need to follow the steps we talked about today. First of all, interview bucket list. What are the 10 coolest companies in town that, based on your last 10 years of life experience, Susan, really get you excited? So specifically, are there products or services or things that have really inspired you as you've been staying at home for 10 years? What is the connection? All right. You've got to find those places. And now you've got to start having informational interviews. You got to use your network. You got to get humble. You got to swallow your pride. You got to get on LinkedIn, and you've got to look at your friends and say, this is my bucket list. These 10 companies light my fire. I think they're so cool. I've learned over the last 10 years that they're awesome. And here's why. Does anybody know anybody? I'm not going to ask them for a job. I just, in order to get back into the workforce, want to learn more about what it's like to work there and what it would take to someday earn a job there, because obviously I don't have the skills yet, but maybe my next couple of jobs will get me to the point where I can work at my dream employer. That's the story, Susan. And you want to do that. You want to absolutely do that, because we're not going to spice up your resume. We're not going to fake it till you make it. There's nothing we can put on there. It is what it is. You, my friend, because you use the word spice, I can already tell, are a go-getter. You need to go out and talk to people. You need to say, I love your company. My goal is to work there someday. Tell me about it. Tell me what it takes. How do you think a stay-at-home mom or dad could get in here someday? What are the skill sets that they'll hire for entry level? What are the, just people love to share that. And when they do, you're going to learn a ton. But at the same time, they're going to get to know you, Susan. And they're going to tell you some things to do. Go get this certification. Go work in this field. And you'll say, great. Do you know anybody? Remember, folks, asking people, first of all, interviewing them and allowing them to share their story and giving them props for what they have. It's so important you do that. If they've got a job at a great company, they earned it. Give them props. Let them tell their story. Let them give you that advice. Whatever advice they give you, try to follow it. But you can earn the right to say, do you know anybody? Can you help me? And you will return that favor someday. None of us here are slackers. None of us are going to take advantage. We're going to be eternally grateful. And there's something about when you connect with somebody and you know that like they deserve a shot. And Susan, I can tell already you deserve a shot. When you can sense their eagerness and their humility and their willingness to learn and grow, you want to help that person. You absolutely want to help that person. And because it feels good. And that's what networking is about. And I know that when you get in your amazing new job after 10 years, Susan, someone's going to come to you and you're going to pay it forward too. And we all need to be doing a lot more of that right now. I mean, how many people, raise a hand, put yes or no, come clean. Most people aren't going to do it if they have to say no. How many of you have helped somebody recently? Just because. How many of you have gone out of your way to introduce somebody to a networking connection or help them get into front of you? Honestly, that is serving your network. We should be doing that every single week. We should be paying it forward every single week, because when you serve your network, they remember it. And if you haven't done it, then that's on your list to do. You still got time. Today's Friday. You got time. But Susan, that's all you need to do. Bucket list, interview, informational interview. If you didn't watch this whole video, go back and watch the earlier part. Get in the game and just get curious. Get out there. You can do this. You absolutely can do this. And the most amazing part is somebody's going to find you and go, oh, she doesn't need to be entry level, or she could be entry level, but we can have her up and running in a better job in a year. Just get in there and learn and be willing to learn. You can do this. So I love it. Good luck. Keep me posted. Come back and tell me how you're doing. Folks, thank you so much for the opportunity to spend this hour with you. I'll be back Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week. So stay tuned. We're going to have promos. If you're following me, you'll see the graphics. You'll know what the topics are. You'll know what we're doing. And most importantly, you can come. I always do a little topic in the beginning, and then I go to straight Q&A. So if you're looking for advice, you can do that. Again, please come follow me, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, make sure you're on those as well. And lastly, of course, I'm going to give a plug to my incredible team and family at WorkItDaily. We are the #1 online career coaching club. If you have ever wanted to have your own personal career coach in your back pocket, we are the app, we are the platform, we are the only one like it out there. We are disrupting the career coaching world, and we are having so much fun doing it. Our job is to help 1 million people in 2020, and we are going to do it with your help. So please spread the love, share this link today. If you like this recording, put it in your feed, let people know about it. Let's empower the workforce, right? We can take this back. We can find career satisfaction. We can do it together, right? We can do it on these sessions together. So thank you again, everyone. Have an awesome weekend, and I will see you next week, all right? Okay, take care. Bye-bye.